Hey guys, welcome back to this YouTube channel. I am Grace Obodo. Thank you so much for dropping by. If you're new to this channel, you're most welcome. And if you're a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for sticking around. Thank you for coming back to this channel. Now in today's video, we're going to be having our usual guests speak to us about how to tackle the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship interview questions. Now, right here on this channel, we have some other videos concerning the Erasmus Mundus Scholarships. I would recommend you check them out because I'll be linking up those videos in the description below. So please do well to check them out. It will be very useful to you, especially if you're applying for any scholarships, most importantly the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship. So please do well to check them out, and you're free to share them to your friends and loved ones because I'm sure there's someone in your cycle who will find this information very helpful. So let's dive right into the video for today.
Okay, you all are welcome back to this channel. My name is Obodoju Chukwu Ebuka, and I am a current Erasmus Mundus Scholar for 2022, Public Health in Disaster at the University of Oviedo in Spain, where I'm doing my first semester. And today I'll be talking about how to tackle the Erasmus Mundus interview question, how to prepare you to tackle the Erasmus Mundus interview question. You can as well use some of the insights I'm going to share here for other scholarship interview. The Erasmus interview is usually online using the Skype or Zoom, or sometimes they can use Microsoft Teams. Okay, so the interview invite usually comes sometimes 2 days interval, sometimes 3 days, sometimes a week interval. For my program, I was given a 3 days interval. So my invite came in on a Friday, and I was to do the interview 8 a.m. on Monday. So I prepared. I'm going to share some of the things I used to prepare myself and how the interview went. Okay, now once you get the interview invite, congratulations to you, because it is not easy. It means that you are among the top 10% of all the applicants who submitted the application for that year. So congratulations to you. Now let's go straight into how to prepare for the interview questions. Okay, the first question you will get most times when you come to the session online, the first question you're going to get will be, please can you introduce yourself? The first question is, please can you introduce yourself? I am using my own experience as a template. It may not be the same for every program, so I'm using my own. But if for any reason your program follows the same template, you can actually adopt it. So but I believe that it is a bit generic. This question, can you introduce yourself, is a bit generic. You can actually use it. So when they ask you this question, what they're expecting from you is to introduce yourself professionally and academically. It is not the time you tell them that your name is Jude and you are from Enugu State and you are married. No, that is not what they're asking you. You are supposed to tell them here about your academic background. You tell them about your research background. You tell them about what you have done in the past and what you are currently doing. You are going to follow a chronological order. You start from the oldest of your work experience. In this introduce yourself, they are expecting you to tell them about your work experiences. And the work experiences you are going to mention are work experiences that are relevant to the program you are applying. Okay? If you have worked in a laboratory, you mention it. If you have done internship that is relevant to the program you're applying, you mention it. You say that in 2015 I did internship in so laboratory, and I also worked as a research assistant in 2017 at the University of this or in this pharmaceutical industry. Then in 2019 I worked as a sales rep in this place. In 2020 I worked as a this in this place. Currently I am working as a manager in this company, in this. So you are going to start from the oldest of your work experience down to the latest, okay? And you're going to summarize it with your future career ambition in 1 or 2 lines. So after mentioning that you are currently a manager in this company, or you are currently doing maybe a postgraduate degree program, or you just graduated from a university, or you just graduated from a master's degree program, as the case may be. So you can tell them that you have intention of going into the field in which the program you are applying to belongs to. So you just mentioned that you have interest to go into that field. What they want you to talk about and introduce yourself is your career, is your work experiences. That's actually the idea there. So start from the oldest and then get to the most current, the one you are currently doing, and then give them a glimpse of what you want to do in the future. What is your career objective? That is the introduce yourself, okay? And in this question, tell us about yourself. They actually give you the freedom to express yourself most of the time. So usually a 30 minutes interview, and each of the question is expected to take at least let's say 5 to 10 minutes, as the case may be, okay? Now after you have introduced yourself using this method, the next question they are likely going to ask you is why did you apply for this program? Why did you apply for this program? So you should take your time and then know why you apply for this program. Your why for applying for this program is your motivation to apply for this program. Is also in your motivation letter, but in this interview section, it is your opportunity to elaborate more on it. So you're going to read your motivation letter very well. Everything you have written in your motivation letter, you must know it. You must know it very well, and then you're going to elaborate more on it on this question. So why did you apply for this program? This is where you tell them how beautiful the program is, how the program aligns very well with your career interest, how the program is going to help you achieve your career goals, and you're going to tell them how you want to use this program to solve some of those problems you have mentioned in your motivation letter, okay, and how this program is going to help you solve it. So whatever has been your motivation in your first paragraph when you are writing your motivation letter, this is where you also tell them in a more elaborate manner. So don't bother yourself much about how you're expressing yourself. Just make sure you know these things. And as you're doing it, most times these interviewers, they are very friendly. They are not really very tough. They are very friendly. And whatever you say, let me just be honest with you, whatever you say during this interview, they usually nod their head. Whether it is correct or whether it's wrong, they will definitely nod their head, okay? So they are doing it to encourage you to have confidence in yourself to say what you need or what you have to say. So don't get scared. Continue saying what you know, okay? Now talk about this motivation to apply. It's all about all the things that have motivated you to apply for this program, your personal experience, the problems you want to solve, how the program you're applying is tailored to help you solve that problem, the skills you're going to gain, the professors you're going to meet. These are the things that motivated you to apply, okay? Now the third question will be similar too. You will see that the third question will be most time for my program. The third question was why do you think you should be selected for this program? Why do you think you are fit to do this program? You see, it actually looks a bit like your motivation letter. So you see that if you have been selected for the interview, it means that you have some of these things itemized in your motivation letter. So they just want to be sure you are the one that wrote the motivation letter, and they want to be sure who they are talking to and how he or she is able to express these ideas and then pass this message down to the interviewer face to face. So this third question, why should you be selected for this program? So you should be able to give them all, like I said, in the motivation letter video, this is where you sell yourself. You talk about your BSc degree, you talk about your class of degree, talk about the courses you have done as an undergraduate that is very relevant to the program you are applying, talk about the internships you have done. If you have a research paper, you talk about it. If you have attended conferences, talk about it. Tell them that these are the skills, that these experiences have given you the right motivation and the right eligibility for you to apply for this program. Tell them about some of the research workshops you have attended, even the research workshops you have organized. Okay, any skill at all you've learned. If, for example, you're applying for PhD and you apply for PhD maybe in genomics or in bioinformatics, and you have programming skills, maybe you didn't mention it during your application time, this is where you mention it. Sometimes you actually gain skills after this application may have been submitted. You may submit the application in January, you are called for interview in June, for example, or you are called for interview in May. That's about 4 months difference. Within that 4 months, you may have gained more skills, you may have gained more certificates. So you mention them there, even though they are not written in your motivation letter. You are supposed to mention it here, so that you tell them and make sure that these skills and this knowledge you want to mention will actually help you be a better student in this program. For the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship, you should also mention the fact that you have worked in different multidisciplinary environments, if you have, because you need to show them evidence. So if you have worked in different multidisciplinary organizations, you mention them. Multicultural organization, you mention them, how you can adapt to people of different culture, different background and different religion, you mention them. So it gives them an idea that you're a good fit for the program, you're a good fit academically, you're a good fit research wise, you're a good fit with good motivation, you're a good fit having worked with a lot of people in different with different culture, different background and different ideology. So that is actually what they want to see here. Okay, now let's talk about the fourth question. The fourth question most times will be, what do you want to do after your program? What do you want to do after your program? Just like in the motivation letter, you have to tell them what you need to do. You break them down into short-term career plan, mid-term career plan, and long-term career plan, just as you stated it in your motivation letter. In this case now, you just have to elaborate it, explain to them in bits. You can use gesticulation if you want. So explain to them in bits how you want to your career to be. Okay, so you mention your short-term career, what you're going to do within the next 1 year after return, okay, or after completing the program within the first 12 months. So within the next 2 years to about 3 years or thereabouts, what you're going to do, that's your mid-term plan. So make sure that whatever you're going to say must be in line with solving the problems you mentioned earlier in your paragraph 1, just like I said earlier in the motivation letter video. That is what they want to hear. Okay, then you then mention what you're going to do in 10 years time, 7 years time, 9 years time, as the case may be, some of the organizations you wish to work and some of the roles you wish to play, and how you wish to influence this change and solve these problems you mentioned earlier. Okay, so this is basically the questions they are going to ask you. You will see that it is not entirely different from the pattern of writing a motivation letter for the Erasmus Mundus Scholarship and for most graduate school programs. However, in some interviews, they have follow-up questions. Some follow-up questions can come up. So these follow-up questions will come up based on your responses to certain questions. Some of the questions I cannot really tell. During my time, the questions, I didn't really have much follow-up questions. My questions just flowed naturally. I was prepared for it and they were just flowing. Okay, so whatever follow-up question they're going to ask, you're going to use your intuition to answer them. But trust me, it is not going to go beyond these 4 basic questions. Okay, 1, introduce yourself. 2, tell us your motivation to apply. 3, tell us why you should be selected for this program. And 4, what is your career plan? What are you going to do at the end of the program? This is basically the questions you're going to be asked, and whatever they're going to ask as follow-up question is going to be within these questions. Okay, so prepare very well. Once you do a good motivation letter and you submit a good motivation letter with a good CV and you are called for the interview, work with your motivation letter. The questions are going to be around it. Just have more knowledge about it. Have more knowledge about it. A question can come up if, for example, you say that you want to contribute to the solution against malaria in Africa, for example, or you want to contribute to the solution against malaria in Nigeria, and they ask you a question: why are you interested in malaria? Why not on other diseases that are affecting Africa? You see, it's a possible question, so you can prepare for it. If you are well prepared, you will discover that the reason why you chose malaria as a statement of problem in the first place is enough. They just want to just see if you are resolved in your motivation to apply. Okay, so just prepare yourself with some of these stuffs I've given you, some of these interview questions. Prepare yourself around them, write your motivation letter around them, and then you are going to have a very successful journey. Okay, and that's all for now. So I hope I was audible enough. I hope I was able to ease your tension about the Erasmus Mundus interview questions. I think they are not that difficult. Well, I'm saying it because I've passed that stage. Because the day I did my own interview, it was not easy for me. I couldn't sleep for 2 days. Yeah, I was preparing for the interview. So another thing you should know is that there is usually stage fright. So don't be worried about it. There is stage fright. It is not abnormal. It is normal to have stage fright. Okay, it's normal to have tension when you are facing panels. Most times there will be like 4 panelists, professors, have this idea of being interviewed by professors outside the country. You may feel inadequate. Don't worry, you can do it. All you just have to do is to practice. If you have a friend around you who understands your journey, practice with a friend. If you have a family member, practice with a family member. Focus yourself around your motivation letter. Focus yourself around these 4 questions I have shared with you. Ask some of your colleagues who are already scholars in that program. Ask them. They can also give you some likely questions. They ask them. It gives you an idea to prepare. It is the truth there is that you need to prepare for you to do well in any interview. You need to prepare. It is very important. So as many people as possible you can ask them. As many times as you can practice. Please do well to practice. The questions you are not prepared for, please don't be scared. Answer it as much as you can while you are prepared and waiting to answer the questions you are prepared for. Okay, they can ask you a question that may throw you off balance sometimes, but most times they like sticking to the pattern of question because they want to be fair. They don't want to ask Mr. A different question and ask Mr. B a different question. They have a metric used in judging students, so they try as much as possible to ask every student the same type of question so that they will be just when they are giving their judgment. Okay, so when you prepare within this area, you are going to do definitely well. So one thing, don't be scared. Okay, try as much as possible to suppress your fear and your tension, and then for you to do that, you need to practice as many times as possible. Practice with your friends, okay, and then go there and do your thing. After doing that, there is nothing else for you to do. Just wait for the response. Okay, most times they respond within 1 week or 2 weeks, and you get your response. And I wish you all the best in your preparation, and I hope to announce you next year as a scholar. I'll see you next time. Please do well to like this video, comment on this video, and also share this video so that some of your friends who are preparing for interview can just gain 1 or 2 things by watching this video. See you on our next video. Meanwhile, my wife is very busy. That's why I decided to do this video alone. Okay, in the next video I promise she'll be here to complete the video. Okay, our baby started crying so she needed attention, so she had to go and take care of the babies while I continue the video. That's why she's not here till the end of the video. Okay, take care of yourself and have a successful day. Bye.